Ugh, I don't want to do this. Listen. I don't know what to tell you. I had goals. I had ambitions. I had motivation. Where is it now? Where's my motivations? Where are my goals? No, wait, I know where my goals are. They're in this video I'm about to watch, feeling very neglected. And I don't want to talk about it, but we're going to, so I don't know, here we go. Hi, my name is Sarah Freshly, and welcome back to Freshly Read Books. I'm dreading this more than my full goals video. How is that even possible? I think it's because I remember this one more. I remember what books are in it more. But maybe I met the prompts of this challenge, but not the books. Oh, I should say what this is about. So earlier this year, I filmed a video called something like Big Books Reading Challenge 2022. And this was a challenge put on by the Instagram account Time for Reading. But basically it was a list of, I think, 4 prompts and then a bonus prompt. And it was a challenge to read bigger books this year with the guidelines of big to you, which I believe I said for me, big was at least 500 pages. But on my list of books, I think I only had books that were over 600, 700 pages. So I was really an overachiever. I mean, not actually. I didn't overachieve. I just thought about overachieving and then I just didn't even achieve. How fun is that? Do you have to play with the squeakiest toy right now? Is that what you have to do? So at the beginning of the year, I made that video. I said what books I was thinking of reading for which prompts, and then I did about nothing after that. So here we go to see how nothing I did. And so in this video, I'm going to reflect back and watch that video and see how well I did. And then maybe try to fit some books that I actually read into the prompts. Right now I feel I read no big books, but I know I did. I read a couple. I don't know, we'll see. Honestly though, what am I thinking? Who do I think I am this year? What were you thinking? That's a great question. So one of the prompts is to read a translated book, which was the easiest one for me to choose. And that is The Books of Jacob by Olga Tokarczuk. Okay, so that's the one that I definitely did. I think at the time of filming this, I had already started The Books of Jacob, so obviously that was going to be one of them. Although I might move it into another prompt if it, because I think that I read other large translated works. Did I? I'm gonna have to pull up my story graph. So the next prompt is a book that is considered to be a classic. And I feel when you're thinking big book and classic, there is one book that stands out among all of the others. That's right, I'm talking Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace. Look at this thing. This is the one I think I'm the most ashamed of because I had plans for a specific time of year that I was gonna read this. I was gonna start it in March, and I even got another little book that's War and Peace in 80 days, and there's a discussion for each day and an amount to read. So I had it all planned. I even made a post about it on Instagram the day that I was going to be starting, and I was today's the day, we're starting War and Peace. And then I don't even know if I read a full page, and then I stopped and I was I'll do this later. And then I never picked it back up. Okay, but a book that's a classic. I'm gonna save, I think, the prompts till the end of this video just so that I know what all the prompts are, and then I can see if I actually met any of those. That also makes it the biggest book that I have on my list, which is funny because the next prompt we're going to talk about is actually the bonus prompt, which is a book that you think is especially long. Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. So this is the one that I'm actually going to be reading for that bonus prompt. So I also haven't read Infinite Jest. I don't know why I thought I could read Infinite Jest and War and Peace in one year, but so I think I was hoping to read this one in the summer time frame, and that just didn't happen at all. I didn't really have anything more to say about it. I would like to read it soon-ish, but the thing is I would like to read all of these books soon-ish. I thought I could read them all in 1 year, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm could I even have read 2 of them in 1 year? Okay, so we've come to the prompts that I'm a bit more unsure about, so this is where I'm going to need your help. So those 2 prompts are to read a book by a BIPOC author and to read a book that has been on your TBR for a while or that you've wanted to read for a while. The last 3 books that I have to talk about meet both of those. Okay, so I actually do remember what the 3 books were on these prompts. I just didn't remember what the actual prompts were. So I had A Fine Balance, A Little Life, and A Long Walk to Freedom. I didn't read any of them, but I think that I've met some of these prompts. So I'm gonna pull up my story graph. Okay, so I've pulled up my list of prompts for the challenge, and I've also pulled up my story graph reading for this year and filtered it to all books that are over 500 pages. And can I just say, I read more than I thought. I read 9 books that are over 500 pages. So that's, something. So the first prompt is a big book written by a BIPOC author. So for this one, I'm going to go with Tomb of Sand by Gitanjali Shri, which was translated by Daisy Rockwell. This was the winner of the International Booker Prize for this year. Very exciting, wonderful book. I did a whole review on it, but basically it follows a family, but more specifically a grandmother and her granddaughter in northern India, and the grandmother is like going through a hard time after her husband passes away, but then she kind of like rebounds and then explores deep into her past, and so you learn more about that as the story goes on. But also it's written in a really fantastic way, and this was 740 pages, so well within big book territory. Next prompt is a translated big book. So initially I was thinking that this one would be The Books of Jacob by Olga Tokarczuk, but I want to use that in a different prompt. So instead what I'm going to go with, which I didn't even think of until going through my list of books, is The Winners by Fredrik Backman, which is the 3rd book in the Beartown series and was originally written in Swedish. So it is translated. This book was 688 pages, once again, well within big book territory. I also have a full video up on this book. I've read all of Fredrik Backman's books, and I have a video on those, and then an updated one for Anxious People that came out like a year or 2 ago, and then for The Winners, which just came out this year. And I have another one that's about the book to movie adaptations, which will need an update soon when A Man Called Otto comes out with Tom Hanks playing Otto, which is Uwe in the original. Okay, next prompt is a big book that you consider to be a classic, and this one is tough. However, I'm in the middle of a book that I think would fit the bill, which is The Sea by Iris Murdoch. And it's even like a vintage classic edition of the book. So this counts, right? It's 538 pages long, so it does fit. I've only read a third of it though, so if I could just finish this by the end of the year, then I'm good. This book I started in I want to say February maybe, and then I put it on hold when I started International Booker, and I thought I'd pick it up between the bookers, didn't. And so it's still here. If you watched my recent video, my November wrap up, then you'll know that I spent November trying to get through the books that I had been in the middle of for a long period of time, because I had 11 books I'm currently reading when November started. And this was one of them, but one of the ones I didn't get to during that month. So it's one of the ones I have left. So I'd love to finish it. I'd love to go into next year of not having this one left, and I feel like this is the extra motivation that I need. This is about a man that retires. He was living in London, but now he lives in a remote area. It's been a minute. And he's reflecting back on his life. He lives on the sea, which is where the sea part of this comes from. And it seems like he wants this idyllic, calm life, but actually he's just always thinking about things or periods of time in his life that had made his life more complicated, and when things kind of start to slow down, he reaches back out to those things that made it complicated, and it recomplicates his life. So I don't think he really wants that nice, calm life that he pretends that he wants. That's about as much as I know about it so far. I wasn't loving it, but I was enjoying it, I remember. So it'd be great if I could finish this, and then this could count for a classic. Okay, prompt 4, a book that's been on your shelf or library holds list or TBR list for a long time. This one, I am using Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This is the first book in the Expanse series. I feel like I've talked about this book a lot at this point, or at least the Expanse series a lot. But it's basically a space opera where it's set in the future, where people are living on a bunch of different planets, but also just on giant spaceships or space stations that house people. And so life looks a lot different, but then politically there's a lot going on between different planets. And then this huge event happens in this book that's kicking off the entire series. So I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm having a blast continuing in the series. Highly recommend it if you like sci-fi and adventure and a great time. Do you like a great time? Read this book. And then the bonus prompt, a book you consider to be really long. For this one, I am going to use The Books of Jacob by Olga Tokarczuk and translated by Jennifer Croft. This was by far the longest book that I read this year, coming in at just under 1,000 pages. I think it was 992. And so I think that it should have this spot on my list. I very rarely read books that are over close to 1,000 pages. I mean, my second longest book was in the 700s. That was Tomb of Sand. And then below that, it was books in the 600s. So I feel like this one definitely counts as a really long book. This is another one that I do have a full video up on. It's not quite a review video, but instead like a how to read this book if you're intimidated by it type thing. Because I was intimidated by it. I don't think I'm the best person to be reviewing it because I think that there was a lot of learning that I had to do just to understand it and like get through the book, let alone like having an opinion past that. I think that I would need to reread it in order to do that. And I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna do that. Great book, but like, I'm not gonna read it all again. Okay, so you know what? Not so bad. I'm feeling about 1,000,000 times better as I was when I started this video. Really, all I need to do is finish the sea, and I've completed all of the prompts. Look at me. So maybe this wasn't so bad after all. Should I do this again next year? Let me know. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. I'm excited to be getting into the videos that are like my favorite books of 2022, my least favorites, my goals videos, all of that stuff, because it's just, I don't know, it's always a fun time of year to be like reflecting back and looking forward. So make sure you subscribe if you want to join in on all of the fun. I also have some other ideas for videos coming up this year. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm excited. Also, they're gonna take a lot of work, so it might be a bit before you see it. But subscribe if you're excited for those things, and let me know what your favorite big book from this year was, or the longest book that you read this year. Also, I upload new videos every week, usually Wednesdays, so I will see you then. Bye.